In this series about the modernization of nuclear programs, we have seen the main and most famous countries that possess nuclear bombs. However, some more, let's say marginalized countries, have also managed the feat of acquiring nuclear weapons. One of them is Pakistan, which is in an eternal dispute for control of Kashmir under Indian rule. This makes the triangle around the territory of Kashmir a very dangerous nuclear triad, being one of the most likely places to trigger a major nuclear war. Besides the nuclear triad of China, India, and Pakistan, the entire Indian subcontinent is a pressure cooker ready to explode, with the aggravating factor that all these countries possess nuclear weapons. So today we're going to see the Pakistani nuclear program, but before that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and share the video with everyone you know. And if you can, consider becoming a member. Not only will you get early access to videos, but you'll also have access to exclusive series for members, as well as private live streams with me. You'll help keep the World Geopolitics channel alive, because if this channel exists and can be so specialized in geopolitics, anthropology, history, and intelligence, like in today's video, it's thanks to the members, since it's a channel that gets very few views. My name is Delian Peter, and this is the World Geopolitics channel. According to estimates from security and intelligence agencies, Pakistan had approximately 170 nuclear warheads in January 2024, which is the same number as the previous year. These weapons were assigned to the emerging Pakistani Triad, which is made up of aircraft, land-launched ballistic and cruise missiles, and sea-launched cruise missiles. This development of several new delivery systems and the increased accumulation of fissile material by Pakistan suggests that its nuclear arsenal and stockpile of fissile material will likely continue to expand over the next decade, although projections vary considerably. This is because the Pakistani government has never publicly disclosed the size of its nuclear arsenal. The lack of official and public data, combined with exaggerated reports about Pakistan's nuclear weapons, make the analysis of the number and types of Pakistani warheads and delivery systems full of uncertainties. That's why estimates from agencies, whether governmental or private, about Pakistan's nuclear forces are probably less accurate than those for other countries with nuclear weapons. The estimates are based on the analysis by these private and governmental agencies of Pakistan's nuclear posture and its production of fissile material, on the analysis of commercial satellite images, on public statements by Western officials, and on private conversations with Pakistani authorities. The history of Pakistan's nuclear program has been strange and obscure from the beginning, up to the development of its nuclear weapons, which was carried out in an at least exotic manner. Between May 28 and 30, 1998, Pakistan conducted 6 nuclear tests in the Shagai Hills in the province of Balochistan as a direct response to the 5 tests carried out by India a few weeks earlier. It was unthinkable for Pakistan to miss the opportunity to demonstrate its nuclear capability, especially after statements underestimating its potential, such as the one made by Indian Prime Minister Gujral, who stated in March 1998 that Pakistan would not be able to manufacture atomic bombs. Thus, these tests ended up being a slap in the face to India. The Pakistani government itself admitted that its action was reactive, aiming to ensure the country's security and survival. Then Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, in a national address, summed up the collective sentiment by saying that today, we have settled the score with India. For Pakistan, the tests represented more than just a military response. They were a symbol of national pride, an assertion of power, and resistance in the face of what they consider to be an Indian threat. Meanwhile, the international community viewed the escalation as a warning. The President of the United States at the time, Bill Clinton, lamented what he considered a missed opportunity for Pakistan to improve its global political standing. But expecting restraint after the Indian provocation would be unrealistic. Indian officials made it clear right after these tests that they would start equipping missiles with nuclear warheads aimed at Pakistan. In this context, the Pakistani response seemed almost inevitable. The historical rivalry, unresolved border disputes, and the patriotic, ideological, and religious fervor on both sides raised the risk of a nuclear confrontation in South Asia to unprecedented levels. Yes, because the situation was even more tense and is more tense than anywhere else in East Asia, even more than the Taiwan Strait or the Korean Peninsula. The nuclear programs of India and Pakistan were known, but the public tests drastically changed the strategic environment of the region. While India's nuclear trajectory has always received more academic attention, the focus on Pakistan shifted to its expansion activities. However, understanding how Pakistan built its nuclear capability requires us to look at its evolution since the 1950s, when the program began with non-military purposes, until its transformation into a military project. The development of Pakistan's arsenal was driven by a combination of classic factors: national security in the face of the Indian threat, the pursuit of international prestige, technological drive, and internal power dynamics. The main motivation, however, has always been the need for strategic deterrence against India, especially after the humiliating defeat in 1971 that resulted in the creation of Bangladesh. For Pakistani strategists, the nuclear bomb was the guarantee that the country would not suffer another territorial disintegration. The program advanced thanks to a collective effort, but it was led by the nuclear scientist Abdul Qadir Khan, who secretly established underground import networks and played a crucial role in the country's uranium enrichment. Pakistan had already started its nuclear journey in 1956 with the creation of the Pakistan Atomic Energy Commission, taking advantage of the American initiative Atoms for Peace. The initial focus was the civilian use of nuclear energy, but figures like Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, even in the 1960s, began to see the military potential of the technology, especially after the Chinese nuclear tests in 1964 and the growing Indian militarism. Despite the initial resistance from military leaders, such as President Ayub Khan, who preferred to rely on the alliance with the United States and on their conventional capabilities, Bhutto's vision ultimately prevailed. Pakistan's trajectory was also marked by very significant financial limitations and international distrust, which led the country to seek more creative solutions far outside what could be considered normal. In addition to motivations and security, internal factors such as the desire for prestige and the need to divert public attention from the country's political and economic failures fueled the narrative of the bomb as a symbol of national pride. For Pakistanis, the nuclear arsenal became a kind of psychological compensation. In the face of the internal difficulties faced by the country and the defeats to the Indians. In the end, all these forces converged to transform the civil program into a robust military project that resulted in the tests of 1998. After the traumatic 1971 war defeat, which led to Bangladesh's separation, Pakistan plunged into a deep crisis of national confidence. Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, upon taking power, sought to rebuild the country's self-esteem and found in the nuclear program the perfect symbol for this renewal. He knew that only a grand and patriotic project could restore the morale of the population. Thus, he quickly turned his nationalist rhetoric into concrete action, centralized control of nuclear policy, and created administrative structures dedicated to this purpose. The Pakistan Atomic Energy Commission launched ambitious plans, seeking agreements with France, Canada, and West Germany to obtain technology under the guise of peaceful use. However, international surveillance and restrictions imposed by Western powers, especially after India's nuclear test in 1974, made any progress along the plutonium path difficult. Faced with these obstacles, an unexpected solution then emerged. The then graduate student, Abdul Qadir Khan, who was working in the Netherlands, had acquired crucial knowledge about uranium centrifuge technology and offered his services to President Bhutto. Recognizing the strategic value of this proposal, Bhutto fully supported Khan, who returned to Pakistan in 1976, bringing with him not only expertise but also access to an international network of suppliers. Even with the fall of Bhutto in 1977 and the rise of General Zia-ul-Haq, the program was not interrupted. In fact, on the contrary, General Zia saw the nuclear race as a strategic tool and maintained his support, taking advantage of the Cold War context and Pakistan's role in resisting the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. The regime then ensured that the United States turned a blind eye to Pakistan's nuclear progress, as long as there were no public tests. It's important to remember that at that time, the United States and China were arming the Mujahideen guerrillas in Afghanistan through Pakistan to fight against the Soviet occupation. This Afghan geopolitical context ended up giving enough time for the Pakistanis to reach decisive milestones during the 1980s. The weapon designs were completed, uranium enrichment was consolidated, and the first cold tests were carried out. Zia adopted a stance of strategic ambiguity, never confirming nor denying the existence of a nuclear arsenal while the program matured under the protection of the geopolitical situation at that time. Khan, however, began to attract unwanted attention with his increasingly flamboyant behavior, culminating in public statements that even irritated the government. However, he was too key a figure, as his role was irreplaceable in that context, with the decisive contribution of not only providing technical leadership, but also orchestrating a global procurement network that circumvented sanctions and international controls, including materials and parts from the black market, using front companies, support from Pakistani businessmen abroad, and the help of embassies. The success of the program was the result of a unique combination of factors: institutional rivalry, exaggerated nationalism, distrust of the West, financial support from Arab countries, and, above all, the perception of the existential threat from India. The project then took on ideological contours, being promoted as an Islamic bomb, which reinforced both internal and external support. Pakistan developed a functional nuclear capability despite global opposition. Over the course of this critical phase between 1972 and 1984, the narrative of Western betrayal combined with the ability to circumvent restrictions and the motivation generated by internal and external rivalries were the driving forces behind that achievement. Today, Pakistan does not adopt a no-first-use doctrine as most other countries do, and reserves the right to use nuclear weapons first in case of war, mainly due to the perception of a significant gap between its conventional forces and those of India. Pakistan has placed special emphasis on non-strategic nuclear weapons, especially in the context of some key points, such as responding to India's Cold Start doctrine. Although it does not adopt a no-first-use policy, it has regularly co-sponsored resolutions at the United Nations General Assembly with the stated goal of assuring non-nuclear states that it will not use or threaten to use nuclear weapons against them. Pakistan has been developing and deploying new nuclear weapons and delivery systems as part of its full-spectrum deterrence posture toward India. In May 2023, an advisor to Pakistan's National Command Authority, the body responsible for the country's nuclear doctrine and weapons programs today, explained that this posture means possessing strategic, operational, and tactical nuclear weapons with a wide range of explosive yields. He emphasized that these weapons could be used against all spectrums of targets in India, not just limited to military and battlefield targets, but also including non-military strategic value targets such as populations and infrastructure. In terms of delivery devices, as of January 2024, it was estimated that Pakistan operated a small stockpile of free-fall nuclear bombs, while cruise missiles were still in their development phase. Two versions of the air-launched cruise missile, the HAD, were being developed to provide the Pakistani Air Force with a long-range nuclear strike capability, with a range between 350 to 600 kilometers. Neither version, however, appears to have been operationally deployed as of January 2024. Pakistan also has several combat aircraft with characteristics that make them suitable for nuclear delivery roles, including the Mirage 3, Mirage 5, F-16, and Joint Fighter 17 models. However, there are no official confirmations about which ones would perform this role. Given this, it is estimated that the Mirage 3 and perhaps the Mirage 5 are the most likely Pakistani nuclear delivery aircraft. The Mirage 3 was used in test flights with the MISEL HAAD, while the Mirage 5 is believed to be associated with the deployment of freefall nuclear bombs. With the future retirement of the Mirages, it is possible that the Joint Fighter 17 will take on this nuclear role for the Pakistani Air Force and that the Triad missile will be integrated into this aircraft. In March of 2023, images emerged of a Joint Fighter 17 carrying what appeared to be a Triad missile, suggesting a possible dual capability, both conventional and nuclear, although this has not been officially confirmed to this day. In terms of land-based missiles, by mid-2024, Pakistan's land-based nuclear missile arsenal consisted of approximately 126 short and medium-range systems. 4 types of short-range ballistic missiles powered by solid fuel and road mobile have been deployed. Except for Abdali, all these systems were displayed at the Pakistan Day Parade in 2021 and 2022, suggesting that they remain in operation. Abdali, being the oldest, has not been tested since 2013, indicating that it may be replaced by more modern systems. The arsenal also included 2 types of operational medium-range ballistic missiles, Gauri, which is liquid-fueled and road-mobile, and Shaheen-2, which is 2-stage, solid-fueled, and also road-mobile. The longest-range model, Shaheen-3, was under development and was tested at least 3 times, in 2015, 2021, and 2022. But probably by now, in 2025, it was still not in operation. This missile has a declared range of 2,750 kilometers, being the longest range system ever tested by Pakistan. In October 2023, Pakistan conducted the second test of the Ababal missile, a medium-range ballistic missile under development, designed to carry multiple independently targetable re-entry vehicles, or MIRVs. The official statement indicated that the test aimed to validate technical parameters, suggesting that the system was not yet operational. Pakistan's pursuit of this technology is seen as a response to India's acquisition of advanced missile defense systems, such as the S-400 from Russia. In addition to ballistic missiles, Pakistan has continued developing the Babur land attack cruise missile with an estimated range of 350 kilometers, which has been tested about 12 times since 2005 and used in training since 2011, indicating probable operational status, although there is no certainty regarding the nuclear version. The Babur 1, a version with a range of 450 kilometers, was unveiled in 2022, and the Babur 2 has a declared range of 900 kilometers and was last tested in December 2021. Overall, in 2022, 2023, and 2024, Pakistan conducted far fewer public missile launch tests compared to previous years. This may be related to the political and military instability that continues in the country after the removal of Imran Khan from the position of Prime Minister in 2022 and his subsequent imprisonment in 2023. In terms of sea-launched missiles, as part of its efforts to achieve a secure second strike capability, that is, a retaliatory strike capability, Pakistan has sought to consolidate a nuclear triad through the development of a sea-based nuclear force. The Babur 3 submarine-launched cruise missile was designed to establish this nuclear capability in the Pakistani Navy, integrating with the 3 Agosta 90 submarines, which are powered by diesel-electric engines. The Pakistani nuclear program should be understood as that of a developing state with very limited resources and situated in a hostile geopolitical environment, which managed to overcome technological, political, and economic barriers to achieve nuclear deterrence. This success of a country that is not only impoverished, but also divided and pressured by greater political forces, was based on four fundamental pillars: the acquisition of technology through proliferation networks and industrial intelligence. Because the country demonstrated extreme competence in circumventing export control regimes, using transnational supplier networks, front companies, even organized crime in diplomatic channels, administrative and budgetary autonomy, strategic external support, because although the program was conceived under the principle of energy self-sufficiency, the assistance of countries like Libya and Saudi Arabia was also decisive in critical phases of nuclear development. PAC stressed nuclear programs, strategic ambiguity, and political management contributed to its success and should be classified as a successful project. Regional deterrence strategy achieved through unconventional methods, but with a high degree of political and technical risk. Thank you all. I hope you enjoyed it. And a special thank you to the super members Lucas Silva de Souza and As Portas da Cidade. And don't forget to share the video with everyone you know to help the Geopolitica Mundial channel keep going. And don't forget to subscribe by turning on the notification bell and follow us on our other networks, Telegram, Instagram, and TikTok, to stay up to date with the channel's news and geopolitics. Hugs, and see you in the next video.